Most people believe that wealth lies deep beneath the earth, hidden in oil reserves, or buried inside the endless lines of code powering Silicon Valley. But they're wrong. Real wealth has been growing quietly beneath our feet all along, hidden inside living biological systems. Plants that people walk past every day, pull out as weeds, or grow simply as ornamentals, never realizing the extraordinary value they hold. In this documentary, we'll explore the science, the biology, and the market forces behind 10 remarkable plants that are capturing the attention of growers around the world. We'll begin with number 10 and count down to the plant that offers one of the most versatile opportunities for small-scale growers. By the time we reach number 1, you may never look at your backyard the same way again. Starting our list at number 10 is a plant most people have never heard of, and those who have often dismiss it because of its potent, earthy aroma. It's called culantro, botanically known as Eryngium fetidum. It is often confused with its cousin, cilantro, but agricultural engineers know there's a massive biological difference. While standard cilantro is notorious for bolting, turning to seed and becoming commercially worthless at the first sign of summer heat, culantro thrives in the exact conditions that kill other herbs: high humidity and deep shade. Academic research reveals that the aromatic compounds in culantro are nearly 10 times more concentrated than those in cilantro. But here is the real scientific advantage. Unlike most delicate herbs, culantro retains its chemical profile and intense flavor even when dried or frozen. For the global food industry, this chemical stability makes it the gold standard raw material for high-end spice blends and concentrated bases like sofrito. Currently, professional chefs and specialty grocers face a fragmented supply chain. They are often desperate for a local, consistent supply, frequently paying triple the price of standard culinary herbs. For a small grower, this represents a strategic entry point. A wasted, shady corner in your backyard is no longer a dead zone. It is a high-yield microfactory. But what about those spots in your garden that see no sun at all? Those places where you've said, nothing will ever grow here. Those deep shadows are actually the perfect laboratory for our next plant. A resilient, legendary shrub that might be growing in your yard right now, hidden in plain sight. Number 9, Yaupon holly. In the world of massive beverage industries, billions of cups of coffee and tea are consumed every year. But what if I told you that hidden in the forests of North America, a native source of caffeine has been growing in silence for centuries, almost entirely unnoticed? Scientifically, Ilex vomitoria. And perhaps the most intriguing part? It has been right in front of our eyes the entire time. But we mistook it for nothing more than a common hedge. Long before Europeans set foot on this continent, the indigenous peoples of North America were carefully harvesting and roasting these leaves to prepare a traditional beverage that historians now call the black drink. This wasn't just a tea. It was a central element of social ceremonies, long journeys, and the very fabric of cultural life. Today, that same plant sits in modern landscapes, and most people pass by without a second glance. Let me ask you a question. Do you know the only plant native to North America that naturally contains caffeine? Most would guess coffee. Some might say the tea plant, Camellia sinensis. Both are wrong. The correct answer is this humble shrub standing right before you, Yaupon holly, the plant you might walk past every single day, but never looked at twice. Modern research confirms that Yaupon leaves are naturally rich in caffeine and are heavily studied for their high concentrations of polyphenols and other beneficial compounds. This is why, in recent years, it has caught the attention of food scientists, botanists, and artisanal tea producers alike. Sometimes the most profound discoveries aren't found in distant rainforests, but are hidden within a shrub in your own backyard. From an agricultural perspective, Yaupon is a master of survival. It withstands salty coastal winds. It tolerates extreme drought, and it flourishes even in nutrient-poor soils. But its most remarkable trait? The more you prune it, the denser it grows. In the right cultivation settings, harvesting is actually a form of rejuvenation for the plant. Nature, it seems, knows how to collaborate with us. After being viewed as just a hedge for centuries, Yaupon is now part of a completely different story. Driven by the movement for local, sustainable production and the rise of the specialty tea market, processed Yaupon is being positioned as a premium product in boutique markets. People aren't just buying a drink, they are buying a story of heritage, of local resilience, and the rebirth of a forgotten species. In economics, true value is often found not in the product itself, but in the narrative it carries. Yaupon has shown us that sometimes the most valuable plants aren't the ones that demand attention, but the ones that have been overlooked the longest. However, our next plant is about to change the game entirely. Because it's not just resilient, it is a biological production machine programmed to bloom again with every single harvest. And under the right conditions, the more you take, the more it gives back. The countdown is truly accelerating. Number 8. Calendula. It has been growing in human gardens for centuries. Some see it as a mere ornament, others as just another medicinal flower. But modern laboratories are looking at this plant through a much sharper lens. This is Calendula officinalis. At first glance, all you see are vibrant orange petals. But when you step under the microscope, a different world emerges. Each petal is a component of a sophisticated biochemical system, where hundreds of natural compounds are synthesized and stored. One group of compounds in particular has caught the eye of the scientific community: faradiol esters. Research focuses on how these specific triterpenoids interact with skin tissue, highlighting their remarkable soothing and anti-inflammatory properties. This is why, in labs across the globe, calendula is no longer viewed as a common flower. It is classified as high-value botanical raw material. But the most intriguing part isn't the flower itself, it's the transformation. Once harvested, the petals are dried and undergoing a meticulous extraction process. What emerges after days of precision work is a concentrated golden syrup extract. It is no longer a simple agricultural harvest. It has become a high-performance active ingredient for the premium skincare industry. This is where the value chain shifts. The same plant, but a completely different economy. The gap between the raw flower and the processed botanical extract can represent a staggering increase in value. In today's market, people aren't just buying a plant, they are investing in standardized, high-potency molecules backed by data. Perhaps that is the true secret of calendula. Real wealth isn't found in the soil, it's found in the knowledge to unlock the molecules hidden within. And as we move down this list, you'll see that the plants ahead aren't just grown. Through the lens of science, they are engineered into a new economic frontier. Number 7. Lemon balm. For centuries, people believed the greatest treasures in nature were the plants that heal the body. But what if one of the most valuable plants was the one that helped calm the mind? Meet number 7 on our list. Melissa officinalis, better known as lemon balm. At first glance, it's easy to underestimate. Soft green leaves, a gentle citrus aroma, and a reputation as nothing more than a relaxing herbal tea. But beneath those leaves lies a remarkably complex chemical system. Scientists aren't interested in lemon balm simply because it makes a pleasant drink. They're studying compounds like rosmarinic acid and other naturally occurring phytochemicals that have attracted growing attention for their potential effects on the nervous system and cognitive function. Under a high-powered microscope, tiny oil-producing glands cover the surface of each leaf. These microscopic structures are the plant's biochemical factories, producing aromatic compounds that have evolved over millions of years. Perhaps that's why lemon balm has such a long history. For centuries, monasteries across Europe cultivated it in their medicinal gardens, where it was traditionally valued for promoting calmness and mental clarity. Today, modern neuroscience is exploring some of the same questions with far more sophisticated tools. Research suggests that certain compounds found in lemon balm may influence GABA-related pathways in the brain, the same signaling system involved in regulating stress, relaxation, and emotional balance. While scientists continue to investigate the full extent of these effects, the growing body of evidence has sparked significant commercial interest. And that changes everything. The real value isn't measured by the dried leaves sitting on a supermarket shelf. It's measured by standardized extracts, carefully analyzed for their phytochemical profile, manufactured under strict quality control, and supplied to companies developing premium supplements, functional foods, and wellness products. In an age defined by constant notifications, information overload, and chronic stress, demand for ingredients that support relaxation and cognitive well-being continues to grow. Lemon balm isn't becoming valuable because it's fashionable. It's becoming valuable because modern science is rediscovering what centuries of traditional use had already suggested. Sometimes, the most powerful innovations don't come from creating something new. They come from understanding something that has been quietly growing in our gardens all along. Number 6, ashwagandha. The invisible pandemic of the modern era, chronic stress. Every morning, millions wake up with a biological storm raging inside them. And the most intriguing part? The promise of calming the storm comes not from a tech lab, but from the silent valleys of the Himalayas, from a 3,000-year-old root, Withania somnifera, known as ashwagandha. In Sanskrit, the name translates to the smell of a horse. Whether it's a mystical metaphor or not, it speaks to an ancient belief that this plant grants the strength and endurance of a stallion. But today, what makes it valuable isn't myth, it's neurobiology. Withanolides are nature's precision instruments. They help regulate the body's stress response, not as a simple sedative, but as an adaptive balancer, an adaptogen. It is a biochemical intervention that assists the body in finding its equilibrium amidst the chaos. Demand has exploded. Small-scale farmers, with the right climate and processing techniques, are transforming into strategic players in the global supply chain. But a word of caution, retail price and grower income are two very different things. Processing, quality control, certification, and logistics dictate the profit margins. Without sustainable farming and ethical supply chains, the gains are short-lived. Ashwagandha stands at the crossroads where ancient wisdom meets modern science. It is both a cultural heritage and a bioactive raw material. In this market, if you seek to turn a story into a business, remember, without agricultural science, ethical sourcing, and meticulous processing, success is merely an accident. Real opportunity lies in sustainability. As we move forward on our list, we encounter a root whose price per gram often defies logic. Known as the spirit of the earth, ginseng. Number 5, ginseng, the Panax gold. In the forest, everything moves with a rhythm, but some beings exist outside of it. They are the memory of the soil. This knotted piece of earth in our hands is not just a plant, it is what ancient Eastern texts called the spirit of the earth, and what global markets today treat as a financial powerhouse, whose price per gram rivals gold. Panax ginseng. In Greek, its name is Panax, the all-healing. But this name isn't a promise of a miracle. It's a reflection of a biological reality. To understand why ginseng is so expensive, you shouldn't look at the clock. You must look at the soil. It can take decades for a wild ginseng root to reach maturity. When you slice a root, you encounter age rings, just like those of a centuries-old oak. Each ring is a concentrated version of 1 year's worth of rain, minerals, and silence absorbed from the earth. Scientists call this biological concentration. As the plant ages, its active compounds, known as ginsenosides, become increasingly complex. This is not a rushed agricultural product. It is the molecular form of patience. So, what makes this root the secret fuel for the world's elite? The answer lies in the plant's defense mechanisms. Ginseng produces ginsenosides to survive stressful forest conditions. When these molecules enter the human body, they act as a biological software update. It is not a stimulant, it is an adaptogen. When your system falls into chaos, ginseng optimizes the mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells. It clears mental fog and blocks physical fatigue at a molecular level. Amidst the modern corporate world, it offers you an ancient resilience. In the world of ginseng, value is split into two, white and red. White ginseng is a precious start, but red ginseng is a technological marvel. Roots steamed and dried 9 times undergo a chemical mutation. During this process, the concentration of rare ginsenosides skyrockets. This is where agriculture transforms into high technology. Producing a single kilogram of pure red ginseng extract requires tons of raw material and thousands of hours of precision engineering. It is no longer an herb. It is liquid gold. This isn't Wall Street, but the greed here is just as intense. A rare wild ginseng root can fetch the price of a Ferrari. Why? Because the supply is finite, but the demand is infinite. These logistics lines, originating from the heart of Asia, now stretch from the portfolios of New York CEOs to the gym bags of Olympic athletes. Ginseng has moved beyond wellness. It has become a sustainable financial asset. Today, we live in the greatest contradiction of the 21st century. On one side, a hyper-fast digital life. On the other, the slowest growing medicine on earth. In the heart of a chaotic city, ginseng grants you the capacity to stop. It is the key to modern Zen. Ginseng reminds us, true value is not found in speed, but in that which captures every second of time. This ancient bond with the earth may be validated in laboratories today, but its soul remains hidden in that misty forest floor. The next time you sip a cup of ginseng, remember that you are not just drinking a plant, you are tasting 50 years of patience and the very spirit of the earth. Number 4, Moringa, the miracle tree. It began 4,000 years ago in India, noted in Ayurveda as the tree of survival. In the 18th century, sailors discovered its resilience and carried it to Africa and the Caribbean. Today, Moringa is not just a plant. It is a global legacy of resilience. The miracle is in the data: 7 times more vitamin C than oranges, 4 times more calcium than milk, and all essential amino acids. It grows 3 meters a year with almost no water or fertilizer. It doesn't just survive, it rebuilds the ecosystem. Today, wellness giants have placed Moringa at the top of the superfood category, but its value is in the process. Without controlled low-heat drying immediately after harvest, it loses its power. Technology turns this humble plant into a billion-dollar premium raw material. Moringa cleans the environment as well as the body. Its seeds act like a natural magnet, purifying contaminated water. For millions, this is a low-cost, life-saving tech. It is nature's most efficient biological investment. Moringa teaches us that future solutions are often hidden under our feet. It is the symbol of achieving more with less, the very definition of food security and economic hope. But now we move from biological efficiency to absolute luxury, a legend that competes with gold, saffron. Number 3, Saffron, the red gold dawn, a misted field of purple crocus blooms. Most buds remain closed. A few fragile flowers have opened, close up on a fingertip reaching into a bloom. Voice, low, intimate, frames the moment. Before sunrise, a flower opens and a human hand decides its fate. This is the first step from field to a gram of red gold. Saffron's story is millennia old, used in ancient Persian courts for color and scent, woven into Mediterranean cuisines, and treated as a luxury medicine in medieval Europe. Saffron traveled along trade routes and became synonymous with value. Its worth is rooted in three relentless forces: labor, rarity, and time. Saffron is not a leaf or seed, but the three red-orange stigmas of Crocus sativus. Only 3 stigmas per flower, and roughly 150,000 flowers yield about 1 kilogram. That arithmetic explains part of the price. Each thread is a concentrated chemical library, approximately 150 volatile compounds and pigments, notably crocin, color, picrocrocin, taste, and saffronal, aroma. These molecules shape culinary and perfumery experiences. Early research also explores antioxidant and neuroprotective signals, but clinical evidence remains preliminary. Harvesting saffron is a morning ritual. In the cold pre-dawn by natural light, workers handpick each stigma. Mechanization is not viable. The labor intensity and narrow window for picking define the crop's economics. Yield and quality depend on precise synchronization of climate, soil, irrigation, and human timing. One late frost can decimate a season's value. Threads must be dried within hours under controlled conditions. Temperature and duration directly determine crocin, moisture, and saffronal levels. Labs quantify these markers to grade saffron. The global market is plagued by adulteration. Fillers, red dyes, and substituted plant fibers dilute value. So, traceability, laboratory validation, and certified supply chains are essential to preserve authenticity and justify premium pricing. Number 2, vanilla green orchid gold. Sometimes, the destiny of a flower is measured in hours. A single morning for a vanilla orchid can determine the economic future of an entire family. Vanilla's story began thousands of years ago, but its global rise accelerated in the 19th century when cultivation expanded to regions such as Madagascar, Réunion, and Indonesia. Today, Madagascar sits at the center of the vanilla trade. Yet vanilla faces a unique challenge. Outside its native Mexico, the natural pollinators needed to produce fruit do not exist. As a result, nearly every vanilla bean begins with a human hand. Each flower opens for only a few hours, and workers must carefully pollinate it at exactly the right moment. The future of vanilla depends on patience, skill, and timing. Harvesting is only the beginning. Fresh vanilla pods have little aroma. Their famous fragrance emerges through months of curing, where heat, humidity, and time transform the beans into glossy black treasures rich in flavor. Natural vanilla is extraordinarily complex, containing hundreds of aromatic compounds that create its deep, layered character. This complexity is one reason genuine vanilla remains one of the world's most prized agricultural products. But vanilla is also a market of uncertainty. Cyclones, theft, and poor harvests can dramatically affect supply and prices. While strong seasons bring opportunity, bad years can be devastating for farming communities. In the end, vanilla's value is not simply the result of rarity. It is the product of thousands of careful touches, countless hours of labor, and generations of knowledge passed from one grower to the next. Because luxury is concentrated human effort, and few products on earth embody that truth more completely than vanilla. In our next episode, we explore another remarkable natural treasure, Agarwood, also known as oud. Number 1. Agarwood, OUD, the scent of dying gold. The most expensive scent in the world is the final cry of a dying tree. This is not the story of a healthy plant, but the tragedy of a living being that has been wounded, attacked, and forced into a desperate defense. This is liquid gold, a substance whose price per gram defies the value of gold itself. Oud. Not every Aquilaria tree produces oud. The miracle begins only when the tree is wounded and a specific type of fungus invades the site. To stop this invasion, the tree secretes a dense, dark, and aromatic resin. This defense mechanism takes years, sometimes decades. What we breathe in as a luxury fragrance is, in reality, the tree's struggle for survival. Naturally occurring infection happens in less than 2% of trees. This rarity drives oud hunters into the deepest reaches of the jungle. Today, science has stepped in. Trees are controlled and infected. However, there is one thing that cannot be cheated: time. For a tree to produce high-quality resin, it must remain sick for at least 10 to 15 years. In the oud market, patience is the most expensive raw material. To extract this hidden treasure, tons of raw material undergo a distillation process that lasts weeks. That single drop of oil is the holy grail of the perfumery world. Earthy, smoky, animalic, and sweet. No synthetic molecule can ever truly replicate the complexity of nature's defense system. A single liter of high-quality oud oil can fetch up to $100,000. The primary buyers are the historic families of the Middle East, the luxury fashion houses of Europe, and spiritual collectors in the Far East. It is not just a scent. It is an investment vehicle, an inheritance, and the ultimate indicator of social status. Excessive demand has pushed Aquilaria trees to the brink of extinction. Today, the wild oud trade is under strict international regulation. The future lies in ethical plantations. Sustainable production protects the tree while ensuring market transparency. Real luxury is not achieved by destroying nature, but by living in harmony with it. Standing at the peak of our list, oud proves one thing: the greatest beauty is sometimes born from the greatest pain. From saffron to vanilla, from moringa to culantro. The most precious fruit of our ancient bond with the earth is this black resin, molded by patience and human effort. These treasures of nature are more than just plants. They are economic miracles forged by human imagination. In our next journey, which hidden treasure will we pursue? Stay tuned and keep exploring.